license.
No matter how many times we do it, Allison always has the best dance moves. No matter what, you always do, Al. It should not be any different. You nailed it once again. Listen, that's one way to get into the holiday spirit. We're 5 days away from Christmas, but only 2 days away from Hanukkah. So move over, Elf on the Shelf, because there's a new holiday character. Well, it's not new anymore. It's actually just crushing it out there to help extend the holiday fun to Jewish families. The Mensch on a Bench, and you might recognize creator Neil Hoffman from his appearance on season 6 of Shark Tank. And this morning, he's live in the loft to tell us more about the new Hanukkah tradition. And it's good to see you. And it's good to see you again because you have been here before.
Yes, thanks for having me back.
Way before your Shark Tank days, you came in here and you're hanging out with us, which was fantastic. So I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad to see the success. You've grown in stature a little bit here.
Yes,
yeah, we've elevated things.
We have grown not only the family of the Mensch, the Mishpacha that I'll show you, but also we now have a Mensch mascot coming around the country with me.
You know that you are absolutely killing it at this point when you have that. Let's talk about it, Neil. I mean, it started out, and when we talked with you a few years back, we were just kind of getting going, and the whole thing to you came as kind of a spin-off as the Elf on the Shelf. And you said, look, for your family, like, we should have something that's more relatable.
It actually started as a joke. So we were walking through a store. My son asked for an Elf on a Shelf, and I said, dude, you're Jewish. You could have a Mensch on a bench. And I fell in love with that idea, went back, wrote the book. I come from Hasbro Toys, so I decided to make a toy for it, brought it out to Kickstarter to see if anybody cared. And fast forward, we've sold over 250,000 toys over the past 7 years.
So did you have an idea when you started, and obviously you wanted to do this for your kids, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but also in a way for them to relate to the holiday, and did you set any goals at that point, or you just said, you know, when you decided, I want to make this my business model?
We had the vision for creating the first intellectual property for Judaism. So if you look at kind of Christianity and secular, you have elves and snowmen and Santa and all these great properties. And Jews, we got the Old Testament. And we haven't done anything new in a while. So I was like, what if we did a new character and added some Funnukah to Hanukkah? And that was the idea. And we wanted to do, and hopefully one day we'll do a TV special. I wanted to have a whole licensing line with gift wrap and different characters. I just didn't think it would get quite this big.
So was part of the whole thing through the TV shows that helped give you more popularity and attention to the product itself as well as partnership. Did that help when it came to expanding the line now? Because we went from the original Mensch on a Bench to now we have a number of products that are out there.
So Shark Tank absolutely just rocketed us to the next level. Overnight, you become a household brand. So that absolutely helped. And then once people got the Mensch, they loved it, and they said, what's next?
All right, so what is next? What's new?
So we did introduce Ask Bubby. So let's say you got a question, right, and you want Jewish grandmother's advice. So, Bubby, is there a Mensch hidden in the studio?
Yes, and call me as soon as you get there.
Yes, and call me as soon as you get there.
There is one hidden in the studio, and we're going to find it in just a few minutes. But I do have to ask you, did this come from personal grandmother experience here as far as what she has to say?
No joke. The voice is my own Aunt Sue in Orlando.
I knew there would be a family connection.
And these are her phrases.
Okay.
So I love them. I want to share that part. And that's why, I mean, Mensch is successful because I'm sharing part of my family and our traditions. It's authentic.
We've got the talking Mensch on a Bench as well. And part of this is serious, though, because you actually want to help kids especially relate more to when it comes to, you know, Yiddish language, things like that.
Absolutely.
To have more of that connection, right?
So Mensch is actually an educational product. It teaches Yiddish. So you press the button.
That means to carry or travel. Shmata is an old rag.
Shmata is an old rag. And then he uses it in a sentence.
And you're going to hear that, and the kids can relate to that as well, then, and hopefully learn through the process.
And he does say, I will not teach you dirty words in Yiddish. So
I got to go somewhere else for that, but that's not the holiday spirit. So we'll leave that alone. What is now that we have this and we've come this far? You say you'd love to do the TV show. You'd like to have the whole. Is there a change to the master plan at this point?
You know, right now the master plan is to have it be evergreen. So how do we go for another 5 or 6 years so that kids who grew up with Mensch start having their own kids and bringing Mensch into their family?
Neil, this came from your personal connection. What feedback have you gotten that's hit you the most when it comes to how this has touched other people out there?
You know, I try to incorporate the feedback, and sometimes people say, what are the values? What are you really trying to do? So like the mitzvah moose, for example, mitzvah means good deed. So we wrote a book about kids doing good deeds, and then you light up a candle for every good deed you do. And then people send me emails and say, you know what I did? There was one yesterday. Somebody went and bought lunch for the people next to them because they had just bought the mitzvah moose and they were inspired by it. And I was like, wow, it actually worked, right? That was the vision.
Personal touch and feelings. Well, Neil, listen, we wish you the best. I know that you're going to continue to do well. I mean, the line has expanded so much since we last saw you. And by the way, as we toss things over to Stacy right now, Max with the camera, if you look right behind Stacy there on the shelf, you'll see exactly what we were talking about. And this was not a plant, Neil, because you were coming. This has been in the loft the entire season.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Stacy, back over to you and some holiday dining.
All right, thank you. Well, when it comes